How do you actually price your product? In particular, how do you price those handmade products where you put so much time into creating each and every single piece? It can be so overwhelming and hard not to compare yourself to everybody else. So let's dive into how you can actually price your product to make a profit. So I sell dried flower arrangements. Each arrangement is made to order, and I've been selling them for over 3 years now. I started with terrible profit margins. I was actually losing money in the very beginning. I have since done my profit margins. I was able to actually increase a product by 28.5%. It was the same product. A few months later, I had increased the price and people continued to buy it. So the first thing is to know your costs. So you're wanting to know how much everything costs for your business to make a product or to sell a product. So this includes the price for the actual products itself. So in my case, for the dried flowers, for the bunches and the stems that I buy, how much that costs me. I also include GST, which is something we pay here in Australia. And I also include the shipping cost if I'm getting those flowers delivered to me. So all of that goes into consideration when I'm calculating these costs. You're also wanting to know how much your shipping costs. So not just how much it costs to ship with a courier company, but how much it actually costs for all of your packaging as well. I would get quotes or actually put through a mock-up order and get a shipping price as well, how much it costs to ship. And I would also add in any transaction fees or merchant fees that you pay. So for Shopify, they do take a percentage of every sale. This is on top of the subscription fee you pay to actually have your website on Shopify each month. So this is a separate merchant fee. So this is when people are paying with a credit card, or if they are paying with something like Afterpay, there are all different fees. So I would have a look and just pull an average and add that into your cost calculation as well. One of the most important costs is your time, or the time that it takes for someone to make your product. So later on, this is really important. If you're wanting to get employees, you're wanting to scale your business, you need to figure out how many products someone can make in that hour and what you feel comfortable with charging. So whether that is what you are wanting to pay yourself per hour from your business eventually. So either that is what you're wanting to pay yourself for your business eventually for making your products, or this is what you will be paying someone else to make your products and to still make that profit later on. So here we have my profit margin database. It may not make sense to a lot of you, just as this is for my particular products, and it'll probably be completely different to yours. So essentially, they are handmade products, except the flowers are obviously already made. So I buy them in bunches or stems. I have written down each stem or bunch that I buy and how much it either costs per stem or per bunch. And then for each particular flower arrangement, these are all the names up the top here. I have how much of each stem or bunch is in that flower arrangement or bouquet. So we'll just use the first one, the fern arrangement, as an example. So I just went through and I just wrote down everything that is in that particular flower arrangement. For the bunches, where it is quite tricky to figure out how many stems there are, I would just have it as the price for the entire bunch, and then I would just write down how much of that bunch I use. So for the white hydrangea, I would use half a bunch, so that is why there is the 0.5 there. So what we have here is the total flower cost for this particular arrangement is $35.01. We'll just say $35 for this example. Each of our arrangements come in a vase. So this is how much the vase cost me. These are just all obviously the wholesale prices. So we have the vase cost as well. So we'll add those two together, and then all other costs for that particular arrangement. So there's the foam brick where the flowers will sit in the vase. There is the packaging cost, the average shipping cost, the gift cards and promotional materials. So like my business card or thank you note, how much that costs, and then
I just took an average for the merchant fees as well from each order that I was mentioning before. So it's added all of those up, and the entire cost of goods, including the bars, including shipping, including packaging, is $62.51 for this particular arrangement. Now, this one I have worked out sells at $159, which is a margin of 60.69%. And in turn, that is a profit of $96.49. So here I have also added in the employee cost, so how much I would pay my 2 employees. So for this example, I put down $30 per hour, and in that time they make on average 3 arrangements, so essentially $10 per arrangement, and that takes the costs of goods, including the employee cost, up to $72.51. The margin then drops down to 54.4%, and the profit made in dollars is $86.49 for this particular arrangement. So yes, it is very profitable. And here Shopify actually have a profit margin calculator tool where you can type in exactly how much it costs for your product and what you would want the markup to be. So this is almost 120% markup, and it calculates the profit for you there.
So our profit margins are quite good for all of our products, but we have been doing this for over 3 years. It has taken a long time to build up our reputation, build up our authority in our industry. Also, at the peak of our sales, they were in very high demand, and also they're not just flowers. So for us, they are flowers that have been dried or preserved to last for years, not just a week or so like fresh flowers do. So for example, if you spent $159 on one of our flower arrangements, say this lasts absolute minimum 2 years, if it isn't cared for properly, that is a $79.50 cost per year for you, and that just works out to be about 21 cents per day, which is quite cheap. In the beginning, we definitely didn't start like this. Our products were very, very cheap. I would sell ones as cheap as $15. It took a long time to be able to build up that authority in the industry. Our average order value used to be $50 per order, and at the peak it was $180, which is just insane to me that we were able to do that. With that, there was a lot of building of trust and authority, as I mentioned, and credibility for us in our industry. We grew a social media presence. We did some influencer marketing. We had Google ads. We were doing really well through SEO, so appearing on search engines. We had testimonials. We had 5-star customer reviews. So all of that contributed to us being able to increase our profit margins to what they are today, and to be able to sell a product at a 50 or 60% margin. Another tip would be to look into your competition. So do that market research. Do a lot of research into what other people are selling in your industry and how much they're actually charging for it. Not that you're going to come in and copy or sell it for significantly less, because at the end of the day, if you're not making money on your products, it is not worth it. So you can either pay yourself or invest it back into the business, or eventually be able to scale. Again, for your competitors, I would look into why some might be selling at a higher price, why some might be selling at a lower price as well, just so you can figure out their point of difference, what their unique selling proposition is. Just figure out why they are selling at that price, whether it's higher, whether it's lower, and that will also just give you a bit of a guide as to what people are wanting to spend for your products. Obviously, everyone is different. You will have your own unique selling proposition, but this is just a really good place to start. So in saying that, this is where you then come in and determine your own value proposition. So are your products going to be priced the way they are because of the uniqueness, because of the design, because of the value someone gets? So for us, we had our dried flower arrangements, and we actually offered free shipping. We absorbed the shipping costs, so they got free shipping with their dried flower arrangement. They got a care guide, they got access to a 2-year warranty. We also had free gift cards. This would be absorbed by us, and this is something that we factor into our profit margins. Another tip is to ensure your products are profitable, but to ensure you are able to have a sale and still make money. So initially, I hadn't figured out my profit margins way back when I first began my business, and I would contribute to a Afterpay sale or or just a Boxing Day sale, whatever it was. And I didn't actually know my profit margin. So it turns out when I would have a sale, I actually wasn't making any money. So it is so important to figure out how much your product costs, what your profit margins are, what it would look like if you had a 10% off sale or a 20% off sale or a buy one, get one free promotion or whatever it is. You need to figure out your costs so you can determine these sales and everything.
How to calculate how much to sell a product for. Selling price equals cost price plus markup. Cost price is the amount of money it costs to produce or acquire the product, including all the direct and indirect costs. The markup is the amount of profit or percentage added to the cost price to cover expenses and generate a profit. The formula can be expressed mathematically as sell price equals cost price plus markup percentage times cost price, or sell price equals cost price plus markup amount. If the cost price is $50 and the markup percentage is 30%, the markup would be $50 times 30% equals $15, and the sell price would be $50 plus $15 equals $65.